Welcome to online English class, English second part, class 6. Test items, changing sentences. I am Shaheen, assistant teacher, NW Shahardal High School. Dear students, how are you? I hope you are all well by the grace of Almighty Allah. I am also fine. Thank you. Okay. Dear students, you all know that the whole world is affected with coronavirus or COVID-19. During this situation, the government has closed down schools and told us to take online classes. And I advised you all to watch that classes through mobile phone and stay safe at your home. So, wasting no time, let's take classes. Today, I am going to teach you changing sentences. Just push. Dear students, today our lesson is changing sentences. Dear learners, a sentences may be changed into two ways. One, by changing its meaning, which is called conversation of sentence. Number two, without changing its meaning, which is called changing sentences. So, today I am going to teach you changing sentences from affirmative to negative, from affirmative to negative. Dear students, you will find it in your question paper in the exam hall in 13 types in the bracket, such as make it negative, make it affirmative, make it interrogative, make it active, make it passive, make it positive, make it comparative, make it superlative, make it assertive, make it exclamatory, make it simple, compound and complex. If you practice the 13 items, that will be set in your question paper in the bracket. If you see in the bracket, you will change that type of sentences according to the direction given in the bracket. So, today I am going to teach you some rules of affirmative to negative. Dear students, if you see in an affirmative sentence, only or alone, and it mention person, then you will change it non-verb, using non-verb from the beginning of the sentence. Example, only he can do it. Make it negative. Dear learners, if you see only in an affirmative sentence or alone, only or alone, and it mention a person, then it will be changed into non-verb from the beginning of the sentence, and the rest of the sentences part will not be changed. So we will use non-verb instead of only or alone. So we can write non-verb. Dear students, only is sense into non-verb because it mention a person. He is a person, so we can write non-verb. And the rest of the sentences part will not be sense, so we can write he can do it. Another example, Allah can alone help us. So we can write from the beginning of the answer non-body. Non-body. And the rest of the sentences part will not be sense. Will not be sense. So we can write Allah can help us. Dear students, in this way, if we see in an affirmative sentence only or alone, and it mention things, then we will change it, nothing but, in place of none but or Allah, not the beginning of the sentence. See an example. He has only a few toys. Negative. Dear learners, here only mention things. He has only few things. Here only mention things. So we will use nothing but in that place, not from the beginning of the sentence. We will use nothing but in that place. Rest of the sentences part will not be changed. So we can write he has nothing but a few toys. Dear students, in this way, if we see only or alone in an affirmative sentence and it mentions number or things, then we will use not more than or not less than. Example, he is only 10. Dear students, here only mention number 10 or age. So we will use not more than or not less than in place of only. He is not more than 10. Dear students, in an affirmative sentence, when we will see only or alone and it mention a person, then we will use noun but at the beginning of the sentence. And if we see only or alone mention things, then we will use nothing but in place of only or alone, not from the beginning of the sentences. And rest of the sentences part will not be changed. In this way, if we see in a sentence only or alone and it mention number or age, then we will use not more than or not less than. Rest of the sentences part will not be changed. Dear students, we can go to another rules. Dear students, if an affirmative sentence you see must, have to, has to, then we will use cannot but or cannot help. In place of must, have to, has to. But remember, if we use cannot help, then we must use ing after verb. Example, I must go there. Lived. Dear students, in an affirmative sentence, if we see must or have to or has to, then we will use cannot but, cannot help. But we should remember that if we use cannot help, then we will use ing after verb. Example, I cannot but go there. Rest of the sentences part will not be changed. We cannot but go there. Dear students, we use cannot but in lieu of or instead of must. So the answer, I cannot but go there. We can write another answer by using cannot help. By using cannot help. So the answer will be I cannot help going there. Going there. Dear students, here we use cannot help. Cannot help. If we use cannot help, then we will use ing after verb. So here go, we write going. So this type of sentence we can answer in two ways. If we use cannot but, then ing is not necessary after verb. But if we use cannot help, then we must use ing after verb. Use ing after verb. Dear students, we can see another example. He has to do it. Negative. Dear students, in an affirmative sentence, if we see has to, must, has to, have to, must. Here is has to. So we can use cannot but. He cannot but do it. So dear students, you will notice that if an affirmative sentence you see must, has to, have to, then we will use cannot but or cannot help. If we use cannot help, we will use ing after verb. Dear students, we can go another rules. Dear students, we can go another rules. In the case of both ... and, dear students, if we see both ... and in an affirmative sentence, then we will use not only in place of both and but also in place of and rest of the sentences part will not be changed. We can see an example. Both Rohim and Karim made a journey by boat. Made. Dear students, here both ... and. Dear students, in an affirmative sentence, if we see both ... and, then we will use not only. We will not only in place of both, in lieu of both, instead of both. Not only. Rest of the sentences part will not be changed. So we can write not only Rohim but also Karim. Made a journey by boat. Dear students, in an affirmative sentence, if we see both dot dot and, both dot dot and, then we will use not only in place of both and but also in place of and. Rest of the sentences part will not be changed. That's end today. Dear students, all remain safe at your home, and when you will go out, then you will use mask, and after coming from there, you will wash your hand and remain safe at your home. Thank you all.